Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
thank you for trusting me and asking me to bring you on the King Kanyini podcast. This is our first episode. And today I have an incredible guest. Her name is Luciana to her friends, and we know her as Luciana. She is a glam rock star who has really been, honestly, by being originally her and not giving a F. And it's been really, as her friend, being great to watch her on her journey because she has amazing music and her story may not be one that you would expect. And she inspires people to be themselves, to embody their star energy, and currently is performing in shows around the world. Now, for those who do know her for her music, they might not also know that she is a liberation coach. So she's running the Bad Bitch Experience, which is a coaching program for musicians who spent years writing songs alone, reaching out to producers and getting ghosted, performing on other people's songs at karaoke, but never really taking that step to embody the music themselves, even though they feel it in their heart. While that may not necessarily be exactly Luciana's pathway, she has seen that as a need for people who want to embody their authentic voice. And so I am honored to be asking her about her story, how it started, where she is now, and also share a little bit about that program. So when I first met you, Luciana, you were doing so many other things. You were working a full-time job, and you quit that job at one point, which I was a little bit shocking to me. I was like, "Really? You're just gonna quit?" So can you just kind of describe taking a step back and like looking, where you were and where you are now? What is the version of you that is in this conversation with me in this moment? Not your career, not the songs you're doing, the album that you're writing, but just the present version of you in this moment.
Regulated is the first word that comes to mind. When I was a young professional in New York, I felt like I was drowning constantly, and that made it really, really hard for me to go about my daily life. Like my internal experience was terrifying. And the more I've embodied my purpose, the more I've made my music, and the more I've prioritized myself and my dreams for my life, the more I've been able to express, and that creates a lot of regulation and internal peace. So I guess I come back to yes, the version of me speaking to you.
Wow,
Okay.
that's you even shocked me in this moment. I didn't expect you to say that. But yes, I think being regulated is something I think that's undervalued as an artist. So could you kind of talk about that a little bit? Like, how is being regulated as an artist one of the most undervalued, I guess, attributes that you need to build resilience
Hmm.
around?
I was talking to my therapist about this just the other day. As an artist, we're governed by our emotions, and that's very beautiful, and it creates a very in-depth experience. And feeling very profoundly is great for creation. It is not great for running a business. It is not great for sales. And so when you're regulated, you're able to distinguish, okay, am I approaching this with my emotional brain, or am I approaching this with my logical brain? And you're able to have that discernment rather than just react to life. And I feel like that space between an external stimulus, whether it's something that triggers you or even good news, having that space between that external stimulus happening and you being able to like decide how to react to it from a place of sovereignty.
Hmm.
I feel like that to me is the ultimate gift of living regulated.
As an artist where you're supposed to, you are this larger than life being where you step on stage and you're holding all the energy of the crowd and then you're reflecting it back to them while you're also singing your music. How do you exist on all ends of the spectrum and still remain regulated?
Building my artistic persona, that's something I teach my students as well, has been like super, super helpful because there's a frequency, there's an energy that I step into when I hop on the call for this interview, when I get on stage, when I go to the studio. That's Luxiana with an X.
Hmm.
And Luciana with a C is just the human, right? And so she has a lot of different experiences, a lot of emotions, and Luxiana just shines onto the world. And obviously, the one doesn't exist without the other. right?
Hmm.
And so it's really important for me to first like have that discernment, and it feels like having a superpower of like now I get to walk in as Luxiana, and I just, it's almost like a switch that I flip the more that I do this.
Yeah.
And I feel very held by myself because it creates this like, it's okay. And there's a space in my life for all the versions of me to coexist.
Yeah, it's almost like being regulated doesn't mean that you're even keel all the time. It means that you're able to feel that full spectrum of emotions and then bring yourself back to center.
Yeah. And it's nice. I think that's the most important thing that I've distinguished in my journey into being regulated as an artist, that I get to choose when to feel and experience what. And there's a certain like sovereignty in that choice because I'm not like ruled by an explosion that's happening internally or, this enormous anxiety. I have tools to like manage that in my
Yeah.
day to day.
It's almost like not being locked into be like that a specific persona. You can, you can let the emotions or you can scream, you can actually let that come out into your music almost as a channel. And then
Yeah. And I think that's also very regulating for myself is like I'm outrageous on stage and I literally throw myself to the floor and I scream at people and I go freaking crazy. And it's like so liberating to just like express myself and feel every fucking thing
hmm
fully in my body, that like there's emotions don't get trapped. And so that's why I feel like I have an easier flow and an easier daily experience because I've given myself the stage to like
hmm
explode onto the world.
have you ever frightened yourself on stage? Like with
Um,
what came out, like how big you were able to shine, or how like I can't believe I took that risk, but I did.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know if frightened myself, but this actually happened at a party. We were dancing and they were like they started like calling me to dance because it was like a circle.
Hmm.
And my friends were like, you should like Luxiana, Luxiana. And mind you, before this, my friend and I had been like drinking tea in the fire and it was a full moon. And
Hmm.
so we were like being charged, but we were like in this cozy mood. And then I get up to dance. They call my name and I walk and then I throw myself on the floor and I do like I do like a back bend. And I was like, I'm in the floor, fully back bent after this like Vogue drop, and I'm like, in my mind, I did not know I could do that. How the fuck do I get up from here? And then I just try to get up, and I'm like, I could get up too. I
Wow.
may have like strained all of my muscles, but like we'll find out tomorrow, I guess. And now I use that move on stage all the time. And it like during guitar solos and just like in and so yeah, there's definitely moments where you're
So
just in
new
flow and then
move
you're like,
unlocked.
whoa, what just happened?
Is there a way that you help? Because I know we're going to get to it later. I'm also just kind of curious now, and I'll forget. But is there ways that you help to maybe even as Luciano or maybe as Luciana the coach teach other people to like explore those areas of themselves because you wouldn't know where those exist within them more than they would. So are there specific frameworks or exercises or things that you give people to discover what that might be?
The main thing that I encourage people to do is to just get on stage and try it. And get out there and like go dancing with your friend. If you're figuring out what your moves are on stage, like go dancing with your friends, go dancing by yourself, go to an open mic and test things out. Because everything that I've built in my stage performance, I've learned by just doing. It's very like unique to me and like none of the things would I have discovered them had I not like been actively performing. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter in what context, it doesn't matter if one person's watching or none. Just like I just encourage my students to get out there and create a plan to get out there consistently.
Yeah.
Because something that we observed a lot, especially in the beginning of the program, is like my students would find a lot of like hype to go and do one scary thing, but it wasn't sustainable over time.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have them go and perform just the one song, just once a week, and do that every single week rather than until they can do more and they're able to like sustain more in their system,
Hmm.
rather than like go and do a 30-minute show once every 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're almost teaching you're weaving the regulation practice within, so they're stretching themselves with some. First, it's do something that you're uncomfortable with, and then keep
Mm.
doing that thing you're uncomfortable with until it becomes comfortable, and then stretch yourself within that area. So you're maybe trying to hit a note that you didn't try before, or you're trying a new move, but you've established a framework in which your body feels regulated, feels safe, where it can, another step out into the area of discomfort, as opposed to just diving into the deep end and being in there, and then can be like, I don't know why I did that, and then like everything's shutting down.
I mean, regulation is a very important part of it. However, if you've been someone that's like dreaming of performing and you haven't performed in years, I do like prepare myself when I do this stuff, and I prepare my students and I prepare my friends. It will feel like you're dying before you get on that stage. You
Mm.
won't feel regulated. You won't feel like, oh, I'm finally doing this. It will feel like a lion's about to eat you alive and you're about to walk into
Shit.
its mouth. Like it, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. And you're just gonna have to like get through that. And then you'll realize that there was no lion. The stage, or it may, if you want, actually, a stage with teeth sounds kind of fun. I like that idea. However, they won't bite you.
Just have like a
And
pet
you'll be
lion in
fine.
the stands.
Yeah.
No, no, it's my pet lion. It helps me perform better. Trust me, you'll
Oh my
appreciate
God.
it.
Oh, I'd love to have a pet lion, but that's so illegal and not good for the lion.
Yeah.
I just want to cuddle with a lion. Like that's all I want. I just want cuddles.
Yeah.
They're just such good cuddlers.
It is true. They're very social. So with kind of like going along the same lines of the, like, yes, taking a risk and doing those things, but also within the regulation, you at one point had a moment where you've done a lot of coaching, you've done a lot of teaching. People wouldn't guess, I think, your origin story based off of that. Can you go into a little bit of just kind of a little bit we were sharing earlier today about your origin story, like even when you decided to get your first coaches, or go back to or go into music school, and what that did with your
Mm.
body, it
Mm.
feeling unregulated.
Yeah. Well, I was tone deaf and I was rhythm blind when I decided that I was going to be a professional singer. I
what
was
is what
18.
is what does rhythm blind mean? I've heard of
Rhythm
tone deaf,
blind,
and that's obviously a big problem, but like, what is rhythm blind?
yeah. Being rhythm blind, it means you can't feel rhythm in your body. And so whenever you go to a concert and everybody claps along because you can feel the rhythm,
Yep.
I just never got how people clapped at the same time because I would like
You're
try
like
to like,
catching a fly. Like,
yeah, it felt like catching a fly. That's such a good description for it. Thank you. Because I couldn't feel it. So I was just kind of trying to copy people. And I went to a Catholic school, and so we would clap along to church music.
oh wow.
And I realized I wasn't the only one when one of our priests was having the same problem, and he was so irregular. And I was like, oh my God, he's rhythm blind too. But yeah, I had based like I did not come out of the womb singing beautifully. I was as a child, I always felt like a star and I would do shows and I loved to sing, but I never got to develop that talent. And so I was very disconnected from music growing up. And when I was 18, I was just in a really, really dark place. And I was in Argentina for a weekend, and this woman and I started talking in a coffee shop, as you do in Buenos Aires. And she was super old. She was like 95, and she told me like her life story and stuff. And then she said, if I die tomorrow, I feel complete. I feel like I feel like I've done everything that I wanted to do, and I fell in love and out of love and then back in love, and I met the love of my life, and I traveled and I had my kids and like I built my legacy. And I was like so uncomfortable listening to her. And then when we said goodbye. It was a beautiful conversation. I went home and I'm like, when I'm 95, that's exactly how I want to feel. And I'm not in the path to feel that way. And when I said that to myself, it was like lightning struck me. I was like, I am a singer. I don't care if I don't know how to do it. I will learn. If I could learn how to be a lawyer, how to be an engineer, whatever, I could learn how to sing. And I just decided I'm going to take a gap year. I'm going to, get a singing teacher. I'm going to get a drum teacher so that I can, start feeling the beat.
Yeah, you can't play the drums if you don't can't catch the beat.
Exactly. Oh my God, so freaking helpful. And also such a beautiful teacher that I had. Cristobal Mora was his name. And I'm gonna take a gap year and then I'm gonna go to LA and I'm gonna study music because I'm gonna have to keep learning to get real good at this.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna do.
And so did you
Yeah.
have a roadmap of like knowing, okay, like did someone tell you if you're rhythm blind and you're tone deaf, these are the three things you need to do in order to be able to fix it?
No. No, but I had teachers that were very patient with me. Well, I guess you could say I did have a roadmap from them. They had never dealt with this level of tone deafness, but they were I was so excited to learn. And now that I teach, when someone's that eager, like you just figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
And so my teachers, I was very blessed from that moment, from that gap year, and then in college as well, to have really great teachers that were willing to go the extra mile with me.
And you feel like you carry that principle forward when you're teaching your students?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And most of my students are like 99 steps ahead from where I was when I started, because most of my students can clap along to a song, can carry a tune,
So would you say you
and they
started
just
at back
need,
as close to zero as possible as far as
yes.
talent was concerned?
Yeah. Yes. However, what was interesting is that once I started doing it and I went to music school and I started singing on stage and performing my first few shows,
Hmm.
I discovered that I had other talents. I'm really good at songwriting. I can like pull songs out of the sky and just write a song, and I write a song every day.
Yeah.
And the stage never really scared me. Or, well, that's a lie. It did scare me a lot, and I had the superpower of overriding that fear.
Yeah, because I was like, it doesn't look
Um,
like the stage fear like that. It feels like the stage is your home.
yes, I think it always felt that way, and so the fear that I felt of getting on stage, like as a young child, I was terrified of like presentations on school, and
Hmm.
I would get laugh attacks, so people would get mad at me because they thought I wasn't taking it seriously, but really I was just so nervous I couldn't stop laughing. It was like I panicked before a crowd. But when I was doing my thing, I just felt like I was able to like move and dance on stage and talk
Hmm.
to people. And I felt brave to like look them in the eye and have a conversation through the music. And it's definitely taken a lot of shows to develop that ability. But unlike singing and like the technicals of music, I feel like I had a head start in terms of like my ability to perform.
When you're about to step on stage, like what are like three things that you do to embody that star power that you were talking about earlier?
I think getting onto my outfit and doing my makeup naturally elevates my frequency into stardom.
Hmm.
And it depends on the show because if it's the show I play at a place every single Monday. That's a amount of crowd that I'm used to. But the other day I had to play a show in a music conference, and all of my colleagues and artists that I look up to a lot were there, and it was like 500 people. And I was nervous. And so I just, took a few deep breaths and kind of it's very simple. I just have a moment of connection with myself and I feel it in my body. when I just like pause for a second and just kind of let the stardust come in and then
Mm,
move. That's always like been really helpful
yeah.
before stage.
And is that the same advice that you share with your students when they're doing the same thing? Like, do they create their own persona? Do they, like, what are some of the things that you have them do to embody? You know, you've practiced it, but how do you help them do it faster?
I help them, yes, definitely. I mean, just the other week we had a master class on building your artistic identity, and that process of like taking a deep breath before stage, it's not just a breath, it's like a frequency adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guided them through like a 30-minute process and then taught them how to collapse those 30 minutes into 3 seconds that they can take
Mm-hmm.
before doing a scary thing. That's one thing, like the frequency adjustment into their artistic identity and my artistic identity.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is teaching them to like be really prepared because so many of your nerves get calm when and managed when you know you got this. And so, for example, one of my students, Kayla, she went to try a karaoke performance recently,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I'm thinking of learning this song for it. I'm like, no. Don't learn a new song for this karaoke. What's a song that you know like it's the back of your hand and you've been singing it, since your early days when you were singing with your sister?
Yeah.
And so I had her find something that no matter how nervous she got, no matter how shaky her voice got, she knew like it's not even, it is a confidence thing, but it's also muscle memory
Yeah.
because when you get on stage, everything is enhanced, especially if you're not used to it. You may feel really nervous, your voice might get shaky, but if your body has like the muscle memory of what a song feels like, it's much, much easier to do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And in spite of whatever is happening inside of you. I used that just yesterday because I was at my great uncle's birthday party. He turned 90. And my cousin was like, "Hey, I know this is weird, but can you please sing for him?" And I'm like, "Okay, of course." And I get so nervous in front of my family. Like I would rather sing in front of 10,000 people than in front of like 30 people.
Five of your
That's
closer, 10 of your closest family.
yeah, that's like I'm all related to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sang House of the Rising Sun. That's a song
Such
that
a good song.
I performed without being able to talk because I had no voice. But like I know that song so well that it literally does not matter what happens, it will come out beautifully.
How did they receive it? How did it go?
Oh, I got some tears. I got some tears. That was good. It's a little bit Maleficent when I see people cry. I'm like, yes.
I did something good.
Um, no, but everybody was very happy and they've seen my journey from, when I was learning how to hold the beat to a rock song. And so it was
Yeah,
very beautiful for them to see 10 years later where I am and that was very beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. What was some of the toughest moments that you had during that, you know, especially in the beginning couple of years where you were trying, you know, like I'm assuming that once you started to like learn how to sing or become less rhythm blind, it wasn't like an overnight success. Did you like start, you know, playing the drums and be like, oh, I got this? Or was it really like challenging and like, did you start questioning like life?
I, it was hard. It took a lot of work to be able to even carry a tune. I did not hesitate at something happened in me when I made that visceral decision that I was like, I am going to see this through. I don't care what I have to do, how long it takes, who I have to become. I am seeing this dream through. The hesitation came later, and I'll get to it in a second after sustaining that level of drive for 7, 8, 9, now 10 years. But in those first 5 years, I was fully learning and I was so determined to figure this out. However, it took me 6 months to learn one song that was my audition song for college. And once I got into music school, that's when the real work began because I was having to learn 2 or 3 songs a week and perform them in front of my peers and in front of my teachers. But like, yo, I was tone deaf still, and I was rhythm blind still.
Still.
And I had developed some ability, but I was practically like just basically embarrassing myself multiple times a week on stage in front of my peers that had been making music since they were 4 years old. And that's what when I say like thankfully I landed with great teachers that saw my drive and were willing to be patient with me. Not all of them. Some because some of them didn't see that drive and they were like, "Oh, she's just not taking it seriously."
Yeah.
And then I had some beautiful moments at the end of my major with those teachers that were like frustrated with me in the beginning when they were like, wow, like I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
That's a beautiful
yeah,
moment.
yeah, but I just there was something in me that was so determined to see this through and learn how to do this that whenever I got embarrassed and like couldn't, got lost in the middle of a song, didn't know when to come in the chorus, sang it completely off key, I would just fix it, and I would go the extra mile. I would go to my teacher's teaching hours and I would be like, "Hey, like this happened and I need help. Like, can you please help me?"
Wow.
And they helped me and I asked my friends. And I also like developed alliance. I was very proactive. I developed alliances where I had this friend with, oh my God, the voice this woman has. Like, it's so beautiful, her tone, her diversity, just the best singer. And she was like she felt like she was very boring on stage. And so
Really?
she was like, "How about you teach me how to get loose on stage and I'll teach you how
Yeah.
to sing in tune." I'm like, "Let's go, girl, let's do it." Um, you just enter this state of like constantly
Mhm.
finding a way.
Yeah. It's like you don't know the pathway, but you know that it's not backwards.
Yeah.
So you keep going forward and then you look backwards and you're like, wow, that's how far I came.
Mm. And I feel like the most important thing is not so much what I did or didn't do because I tried a lot of things that didn't work
Yeah.
as well. It's just keeping the movement, and seeing what teachers work for me, what teachers don't work for me, what friends do I feel comfortable? Because I also felt really embarrassed and awkward because everyone was so talented.
Hmm.
Like I was telling you, my worst nightmare was like at parties, all my friends were musicians and all these idiots wanted to jam all the time, which was my
All these
worst, like the
idiots.
worst thing.
Why would you want to
Because it's like
create?
uh, why do you want to jam? Improvise? Do you know how long it takes me to learn one song and you want me to improvise? Like, are you out of your mind? I love improvisation and I love jamming now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was almost offended that they were expecting that of me.
What were some of the lessons you feel like you learned improvising that you couldn't learn in any other format?
I love that question. The flow, the creative flow, learning how to connect to it in real time
Yeah.
because you can't edit an improvisation. And I think improvising and jamming teaches me a level of flow and also of connection with the people that I'm making music with that you can't really find elsewhere
In a
or in a
structured
song
setting.
that you've prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will
So
say
good.
one more thing though.
Hmm.
Something that I also love about improv, it's like it feels like a day, like a temperature of what's happening in your internal world as well.
Mm.
Because especially as singers, at least me, I'm not a jazz scatter or something. Whenever I improvise, I make up words too. And so whatever words sometimes I didn't even realize that was happening inside of me,
Hmm.
but because I'm just kind of letting it come out, I'm like, whoa, like that's, a thing that I'm dealing with right now.
Mm.
And that's also really vulnerable because you're having that realization with like five people around you. It's like, oh, you know.
Yeah. And then it might connect with them in a way that they didn't realize either. And so it's almost
Mm,
like speaking like the collective consciousness, also like verbalizing it.
yeah.
It's beautiful. How so you go to music school, you graduate, and then do you go right into being an artist after that? Do you what's the how did you then take that and then carry that forward?
I graduated mid-pandemic and I came back home for a few months.
Hmm.
And then I was offered an internship in a sales job in New York. And I'm from Chile and we were in Chile just completely locked up, like could not go out. Had to get a permit to go to get groceries or walk my dog. And so when I get called to like go to New York, I'm like, I'm there. I don't care what I have to do, you know? And this sales job taught me so much for about, how to start a business, how to build, my empire that I'm building today.
Hmm.
And also, I disconnected from music. It was very demanding, and I felt like I was drowning. And that's when I realized that music is my soul oxygen. Like if my body physically needs oxygen, my I need music. It's like the air I breathe.
Yeah.
And it's not an option, it's not a career choice. It's not I would go as far as to say it's not even a purpose. It's like it's me. Because everything, I had a beautiful apartment, I had beautiful friends like yourself, and
That's where we met
I
in New
was
York.
falling in love for the first time in so many things, and I
Mhm.
was miserable. I wanted to die. I couldn't like regulate myself to save my life, and I was stressed all the time. And it had nothing to do with the job itself or whatever. I needed to be making music. And so after a year and a half of doing this job and building this company, I was like, I quit. And I didn't even a calculated decision. I just needed it. I didn't have like savings or a plan on how to be an artist. I just knew that I needed to be an artist and I had studied for this and I had started a path and I was
Mhm.
5 years in and I needed to see it through.
Yeah. How did you, when you took that leap, did you know you were going to be successful? Did you already have songs written? Did you have gigs booked? Was it like what was the like was there surety in your choice of decision or,
None. Zero.
no.
I had no money, no gigs. I had some songs that I wrote and had released. And I had an expectation that I was going to quit and I was going to release my songs and I was going to become a global superstar instantly. Um, and it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey.
How did you, because I remember we obviously connected and I'd see you hanging out with my wife from time to time. I knew you worked and also, sang or could sing because you did an incredible job by coaching adults and kids. And then when Paige told me you quit, I was like, oh, okay. And then I don't know how long, it was probably longer for you than it was for me, but it almost felt like then you had a show in Soho, yeah, or
Yeah.
West Village, and I was like, "What? How did that happen?"
Well, yeah, I was also like around the time that I was about to quit, I had released one song
Hmm.
called Freaky, and I had found my artistry in glam rock as a subgenre.
Hmm.
And I had met some musician friends, so I was already getting out there. And my friend Nicole helped me get a band, and her partner at the time introduced me to a show booker. And I even when I toured last time, I played with them as well. I go back to what I was saying earlier. When you get out there and you go try stuff, like it's not hard to find a show and to find gigs. Finding good gigs, building an audience, like that stuff takes time and stuff, but like just getting on stage to perform in front of people is a lot easier to find than you might think.
I appreciate when you when you say that it's not that hard to get a gig in the biggest one of the biggest cities in the world. And I think that takes a
Yeah.
lot of confidence. What would you say to someone that would say, no, it is hard to get a gig? I've been told no many
It is hard,
times.
but it's hard because it's hard. You're making it hard in your body, right? And it's scary and it's weird to like go up to a bar and be like, "Hey, can I play here on Friday at 7?" Whatever. But the act of going to ask someone that owns a bar, owns a club, it's just a question. It's just getting out there and asking a question, and
Hmm.
you may get some no's, you may get some yeses. But the point is the act of getting a gig is not hard itself. Gigs are available and emerging people play them all the time and professional people play them all the time. People who've never played a gig play them all the time. It feels paralyzing when you haven't done it before to go and advocate for yourself in that way.
So you were saying that as people get more comfortable in their own skin, they become more comfortable working, kind of like expressing that and putting themselves in more challenging situations.
Yes, because you start, the more that you do it, you start stepping into a flow where you go play a gig and it doesn't go too well, but you learn a little bit from it. And then you go to an open mic, and then the place at the open mic really like what you did. And so then they ask you if you could come and play a full set on another night.
Yeah.
And and then you in that set that you play, you meet a friend who could be your guitarist, and you
Mm-hmm.
start getting into this like compounding effect. The more that you do it and the more comfortable that you get, that allows kind of life to be your manager a little bit and support you in that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you feel like as you've made yourself more vulnerable and stepped into um, that discomfort zone, that life has met you halfway?
Oh, 100%, 100%. The key there is that you have to take initiative first,
Mm-hmm.
because like I always say, if you don't choose yourself, life won't choose you.
Oof.
And and that's really, really important when you're about to take the leap and about to do something that feels scary that you want to do, like start putting your music out there, like go play your first show.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important to do it scared, because because in that act you are choosing yourself and you are choosing your dream,
Yeah.
and life responds to you. So if you're scared and then you don't do it, life will close, right? And you start this like downward spiral of like then life closed, and then you gather evidence to like close even more.
Mm-hmm.
But what you don't realize when you're in that loop is that you started. You're the one choosing to close.
Yeah.
And the moment you choose to open, the moment you choose your dreams, you choose to do something scary, life responds to you. And so life opens up.
Yeah.
And then and then you're like, "Oh, okay, that I handled that. Not perfectly, but I did it. And
I'm
so
not
let me go
dead.
try this again." And so life responds with even more of an opening,
Yeah.
you know?
And it doesn't
And so
mean that
that's why
it's,
it's really important to like stay the leader of your experience.
yeah.
Because a lot of my artists are like, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. Right now it's not a good time. I'm too busy. Listen, I was stone deaf, I was rhythm blind, I had $0 to my name, and I raised the money that I needed to live for a year in LA, this very expensive city, working in Chile, and like, you know, you decide, is my point.
Yeah.
You decide.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing because you're talking about even like going to shows. Oftentimes, something is always kind of in between other, like I don't have a car or I
Oh,
don't have this or I don't have that, and they use those things. I was talking to you earlier today, and like found out like you're still walking to shows. Well, not now, you're not, but like you were signing up and doing all these gigs and just getting there in the altitude of Chile on the hilly.
oh yeah, yeah. I live in like the deep hills in Santiago. That's the city where I'm from. And the closest bus stop is like a 30-minute walk from here. So I hitchhike to get into the city and to go to my shows. and to, go to interviews and stuff. And sometimes like I'm hitchhiking and like this huge truck from a construction will stop and I have to like climb up like for a ladder to get on this huge truck to get to the bus stop. And you just do it, you know? And now thankfully I've been blessed with a car and so I'm going to be able to drive to gigs and I'm really
Wow.
excited because it won't take me 2 hours to get to places. But even the car itself, like 2 weeks ago, I went with my friend who's from the countryside here in Chile, and we went to her house. We were having lunch with her family. Her dad played a song, and her uncle was organizing a very big festival that's
Mm.
coming up this weekend.
Ah, okay.
And they were like, "Why don't you come play to the festival?" And I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And then like it happened all instantly in like Sunday lunch. And I sent them my information. I called my team to tell them about the gig, and we closed the deal right there. And
Not
then
knowing
I
how
was
you're gonna
like,
get to the show.
yeah, because mind you, this countryside area is 2 hours away from a 2 hour drive. It's outside the city of
Mm,
Santiago. And so how am I going to get there? How am I going to like find care for my dog? All those details I couldn't figure out. I didn't have the answers to. And
mhm.
it's not just me that's going, it's me and like a whole team because it's a pretty big show.
Yeah, yeah. You got your
And
camera
so
team and everybody
yeah,
relying
but
on your
I didn't
your
even,
wisdom.
yeah, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even like think about not doing the show because of my circumstances. And I was gifted a car. And so now I could just drive there and I get to
Came
bring my dog with me.
the car came like did you find the car? Did you, like were you asking the universe for a car? Like what
I was asking, yes, I was like, I need to figure out a way to have a car. Like, how could I afford it and stuff? And then, my mom offered it to me
Yeah.
and she hadn't done that in a while. It was very surprising. And I'm still paying for all the expenses and insurance and all of that stuff, but it was the upfront payment that I was struggling with.
Yeah.
And I'm picking up, check out this timing because we bought the car on Saturday. So up until Saturday, I didn't know how I was going to get to this gig. This gig is this weekend. And I'm picking the car up. The car's was ready today. So I'm picking it up tomorrow and I have to drive to the show on Friday.
Wow. Like, there's
So
no,
a week ago, I had no way of getting to the show. Everything was confirmed and set up.
yeah,
And my team and I had no idea how we were going to do this, but we knew we would find a
no
way.
way. Yeah.
And we asked everybody and all these things, and then the car just kind of fell into place. And I
Hmm.
knew in my heart that like life was going to deliver because I'm here and I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like what we're saying is that like you have to take the leap of faith in order for the universe to meet you halfway. That if
Yeah.
you don't take the leap, then it can't. And so you close up, and then the
Mhm.
universe is like, all right, well, I guess you don't want this, or I guess you don't need this.
Yeah.
This thing that you're, this thing you said you're wanting, like it's through the pathway of discomfort. But if
Yeah.
you're not willing to stretch yourself, then the universe can't stretch to meet you.
Mm.
Wow. There's a story that you've shared with me that I wanted to talk because it's almost like a moment where maybe you felt like the universe wasn't meeting you halfway.
Mm.
Um, and that moment where you made an investment in a teacher and it gave you some things obviously, but can you to share a little bit about those moments of that the mentor you found, and then just kind of like the story that unfolded from there.
Yeah. Yeah. This was right before I quit my job. I found a mentor and she had a 3 month program and was my first coach that I ever had. And she was offering a 3 month program for artists to realize their dreams and free their voice. And my savings at the time was $5,000. And I felt like I pulled the rug from under me when I invested. But like I needed to like be making music. It crushed me because during that time, a lot of really great things came from that program. But this teacher create had a mentality of creating a dependency, and so she kind of pushed me to sign up for like a year with her. And when I did that, I was about to quit my job, and it was very expensive, and it was crushing because it didn't create the results that I wanted. And once I was in the community, I realized none of these people were actually like musical artists the way she had promised. And she sang and she was a beautiful singer, but
Hmm.
she never realized her dreams. And she was she was like about 70 years old. She wasn't doing actively or hadn't been actively making music and doing the things that she was teaching. And so it crushed me because it left me really, really poor and at a time where I needed like my finances so that I could, quit my job
Yeah.
and go for my dreams. I felt like I was left stranded. And that's when I realized the importance of first enabling my clients to find the answers and the resources for themselves. And
Hmm.
I'm their support system, but I'm not their mother, and I'm not their success doesn't ever depend on me or my program. I'm here to like help them and accelerate their results.
Yeah.
They have access to generate results, and I'm just here to support that process. I don't ever want to make them feel like if they're not in my program, nothing's gonna happen. And
How do you know when you're going through the process that you can actually help them get the results that they're looking for?
usually it's because they are trying to figure out something that I've already figured out. So if they're trying to figure out how to be a worldwide superstar, for example,
Hmm.
I can't help you because I'm figuring that out myself right now. If they're trying to figure out how to make music consistently, how to release their first song, how to build their own community, how to find their artist identity and find their unique sound, I
Hmm.
can help you with that because I've done it myself and I've created a roadmap that's teachable and repeatable. So that for me is like the key determinator. And also, do they want to be helped? Right? Because maybe I figured out a problem that they want to figure out, but they're not ready to really resolve it. And so for me, it's really important to keep my community excited and vibrant and like active, to have people that are willing to take scary steps and are willing to invest in themselves when it feels kind of weird, and also are safe communicators and we can talk about things. So it also depends on who the person is, whether I'm going to offer them access or not.
Yeah. That last part is very powerful and salient because that sometimes as coaches we can be so focused on filling our container instead of focusing on on saying yes to the right people and also saying no to the people who want to join but aren't actually a proper fit. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the thing that actually helps them become the right fit because sometimes being told no is the
Mhm.
thing that actually gets us to realize we need to fix our shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Have
yeah.
you had any of those moments in your
Exactly.
life where you kind of like a mirror moment where it was like, okay, like I'm doing these things or I've gone down this path and I feel like I'm doing the work, but actually I'm doing it the wrong way, or I'm, controlling too much when I need to let things flow, or I'm flowing too much where it needs structure.
Oh my God. Yes, a million times. A million times. For me, trust has been an important thing to develop. And I'd say this was a hard time in my life. A few years after I became a full-time artist, I went through like a big breakup and major life change, and I was so alone and so broke. And I was back in Chile, but I was just like really lonely in my life, and I was working by myself, and I was grieving a whole life that I had built with someone. And that's when I got trapped in control the most. the purpose of community and the purpose of doing things together is, we have it, you have external perspective, you have mirror, and you have support. And so as artists, especially if you're thinking about being a solo artist, loneliness is your worst enemy. It's your worst enemy because there's all these artists that are like, oh, I'm gonna mix and master and write and produce my song and do everything myself because no one will help me. But you will get entrapped in a thing if you do that. And it's hard to see the path forward when you don't have anybody to kind of ping pong ideas with. And so yeah, I started kind of creating that context for myself and building partnerships and talking to people and slowly and very gradually started to get myself out there. And that's something really important that I teach and that I also give to my people inside this community is support and a context and peers to do this with.
You got the authentic artist out of me. I was, obviously, highlighting the class, and I was like, oh, I learned something new about myself.
Yeah.
um, I've been more focusing on the artist than necessarily your music, but I do want to kind of to go into that as well. Just real quick, like we can do this, relatively quickly, but what's one song that almost didn't exist that you wrote?
Freaky. I wrote it and I got scared of myself because I was like, what just came out of me? Um, and
The
it
video
almost
is
stayed in
is
coma.
amazingly beautiful, by the way.
Huh?
The video is amazingly freaky, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is one song that you wish you could have taken back?
Then I wish I could take
Take
back
back. Yeah, that you published that maybe you're like, ah, I wish I did that differently.
21st Century Baby. But the new version is coming.
Okay. What is the song that you're most proud of?
It hasn't come out yet.
Okay. All right. We'll stay
But
tuned for
from the
that.
ones that are published,
Yeah.
Bad Bitch.
Bad Bitch. So the Bad Bitch experience, is that from this song? Was it born from that?
Yes, because the song Bad Bitch like basically it is an anthem of liberation from when I quit my job to become a full-time artist and pursue my dreams. And the
Mm,
Bad Bitch experience takes you from where you are right now to actively making music, playing shows, building your community. And so that it's kind of the song is like this is a transformation that I had, and then the Bad Bitch experience is an opportunity for you to have that transformation as well.
as yourself. Wow. Okay. I did that learn something. I did learn something new.
Yeah, there
um,
you go.
and the bad bitch experience, is that something that you feel is able to get people from point A to point Z, the same journey that you took, uh, in a 3 month period of time, a 12-month period of time? How do you feel like you accomplished that with the people, and over what period of time?
Yeah, so it took me 3 years and I've condensed it in a way that it takes my clients 12 months. So 1 year.
So 12 months from like
The
never written
power
a
of,
song before, written a song, performed, know how to put your own band. You're not promising their guys going to be world rock stars, but but like they'll have all the tools to basically do all of that on their own.
yes. So it's for someone that's been dreaming of being an artist, but hasn't like launched their project and their music out into the world to do it. And so you will write, produce, and release your first song. You
Hmm.
will develop your artistic identity, and you will produce and perform your first show and your first music video and all those beautiful things.
Wow, that is amazing. What is one book or podcast or YouTube that you have recommended to or gifted most artists, or that are kind of either starting in your container or just in general?
The Creative Act, Rick Rubin.
The Creative Act.
It's a book.
Oh, it's called The Creative Act.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I thought there was a word after that. Okay, so The Creative Act. What is one practice that you do daily that is non-negotiable for your music or for your practice, for your music practice?
I read a song.
So you really
Yeah.
write a song daily.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I think it was I can't remember the specific artist, but they said for every hit that I write 100 songs. So you've written some hits.
Yes. They are on their way to you.
Nice. What failure shaped you more than any success?
When I released the song Bad Bitch, I had a show in LA and it was raining. And for my California people, when it rains in LA, nobody does anything. People go on lockdown. One person showed up to the show, and I had literally crossed the world. I had zero money, so I had to take the bus, and it was pouring.
For people who do
And
not
I took,
know, the bus in LA is it's the
yeah,
worst.
it's the worst. It's the worst. I had an umbrella that I borrowed from my uncle, and I took the bus to the show. I got there wet, and one person showed up, and there were two DJs in the audience. So I had three people in a bar that could probably fit like 300. And I played my show, and one of the DJs was very impacted. And he was very inspired, and he talked to me about how the show impacted him. It made the whole thing worth it, and I left there being like, I've done my job. And it's those moments that build me as a professional because it
Mm.
you build this like non-negotiability with your art where it doesn't matter if one person showed up or 10,000 people are there,
Yeah.
you are going to put on a show and you're going to do it, and I'm going to do it amazingly. And just building that kind of independence with the circumstance made me really strong.
Just got chills. I'm like trying to catch my bearing. Because I'm just from the audience to looking at the artist, we always feel like, oh, like the bigger the crowd is, the better. Um, but it feels like what unlocked for you is this ability to see that whether it's 10,000 people or one person, that you're connecting with each person individually, with with every moment in the performance. Um,
Yeah,
and it's kind of like leads into this question about what belief do you feel like most musicians hold that you think is dead wrong?
I'm going to be discovered. Yeah.
Oh, that hits. um, so how do you, if it's not that you're going to be discovered, then what do you feel like that belief, if you invert that, like what is that for you?
Because I'm going to be discovered is you're waiting, you're not doing anything, or you're doing some things, but you're staying on the fence and you're not taking any real risks. And
Hmm.
you're waiting for somebody else to choose you before you choose yourself. And that's not how the artistic path works. You got to choose yourself first. And everybody who's been discovered, quote unquote, or everybody who's built massive success has taken a lot of risk and made a lot of really difficult choices and invested in themselves and gone all in against every single freaking circumstance. And so they found the team, they found the people, they found the crowd to make their music on a wider scale.
Hmm.
But you gotta choose yourself first.
Or life won't choose you.
Exactly.
That's a bumper sticker for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who is thinking about getting into your container and on the fence of taking that leap?
Talk to me. Shoot me a DM. Ask about it. I mean, and then, we'll have a conversation and you can decide what the best choice for you is.
And for those who have, what are some stories that people who have worked with you, what are some of the things that whether it's, yeah, just people who've worked with you that you feel like were on the fence that made the leap, and how they're experiencing now or what their outcomes have been thus far.
I mean, we've had some really, really cool results. I had a client, her name was Fernanda, and she had stage fright, and she hadn't been able to graduate from college for, she had two majors, and she hadn't been able to graduate. And she had tried doing her thesis many times, but she was terrified to do her thesis presentation.
Hmm.
And she came to me like, I need help because this was like the last shot that her university was giving her. She was 32. She was like, I gotta get to work, girl. Like, I can't keep being this scared of my thesis presentation.
Yeah.
And I thought when we had our first call to decide if we were gonna work together, I thought she was gonna have like a stutter or like she was gonna go blank. Turns out she was literally just scared and she needed the appropriate context and support to practice and get really good at her thesis presentation. And we worked together. We went to karaoke. She sang a lot and we got her out there. She went to my shows. I pulled her into my stage. We had one-on-ones to practice her thesis presentation. We
Hmm.
had it down to what outfit lipstick was gonna be.
Hmm.
She ate it.
She
She
aced it.
went from like failing at presenting. She aced it. She got a perfect score.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's out there,
From
working
stage
in
fright
her
to
dream
straight
job right
A's.
now. Yeah, there we go. And it was so my experience with her was so beautiful because it was such a testament to so many times we feel so incapable and so scared to
Yeah.
do something that we really want to do. But there's nothing that by default is wrong with you. That's what's so important about this story. Fernanda, when she presented it to me for the first time, sure, she got tangled a little bit and stuff, but I was like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like
Hmm.
you speak at a you have a beautiful speaking voice. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're skilled. You and so many times the fear is literally just in your mind. And I know how real it feels in our bodies, in our minds, and in our experience. But when you take that leap and you try, and Fernanda, like she had been a student for 10 years. She had no money. She like Ubered to be able with
Wow.
this. While she was preparing her thesis presentation, that's like a very demanding time-wise. But she knew she needed it and she was determined to see this through. And it's so important once you come on the other side of it, you look back and you were like, I had the skills to do that all along.
All along. It's almost like the fear of it was the hurdle was there to remind you that you had that gift in you all along. You
Mm,
could bring almost
yeah.
like the back bend that you did. Like this was in you all along. Now you can use it. It's
Yes.
skill unlocked.
Oh my God. Yes.
Um, and then do you know where she is now? What is the like she graduated?
She's working. She's a professional engineer. She's working in her job and she's feeling a lot more comfortable. I checked in with her last month. She told me that it didn't just help her with her thesis presentation, but also now when she advocates for herself in her job, she feels much more confident from our time together, speaking up for herself and saying what she needs
Yeah.
in order to, do her thing.
Yeah. I think they're transferable skills on stage and also off of stage in the biggest stages of our life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, speaking of that, one of my current students, she did a program with me like 2 years ago, and then she returned to do the Bad Bitch experience. And she was a massage therapist, and she always dreamed of making music, and we did the first program we did was just a one-on-one 4 weeks
Hmm.
intensive, and she just needed to learn how to set boundaries. And so we did that work first, and now, throughout our work together over a few years. She was coming to like every free master class, participating in every single thing that
She's
she
orbiting
could.
you.
Yeah, she never left the orbit. She was always, we would check in all the time. And by the time, she changed her life and completely uprooted her life in the process.
Hmm.
And once she was ready to go to realize her artistic dream, she reached out to me and she was like, "Okay, I'm ready now. Let's do it."
Mm.
And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
And now she's, actively performing and starting to write her first song. And I'm so freaking proud. Oh my God. Just the woman she's become, not just in her as an artist, but also in the way that she speaks up for herself
Yeah.
and says what she needs and what oh my God. It's so cool to see
Yeah.
her.
And then she sees that mirror as she is more expansive. It doesn't necessarily mean that the pathway is easy, but we feel that opening, then it encourages us to move through the difficult moments. We usually there's like an uptick, like, oh, you leaped and you'll get like a positive reinforcement, and then like the next couple of days or couple of weeks or couple of months might be difficult, but it's encouraging. Okay, or
Yeah.
how committed are you to this pathway? Um,
Yeah.
and so then having somebody like you along with them helps to create that support and that community of knowing that we're not alone. Because sometimes that's the biggest challenge is we think that we're alone in our struggles.
Oh my God, yes. And that's exactly why like me and the community are there because there will be times when you're gonna be like, what the fuck am I doing? This is a terrible idea. I need to run away immediately. And that's when I come in and I hold the vision for you until you come back. And I've had those people and I to this day I have you're one of them actually.
Mm,
And I'm so blessed to like be surrounded by people that help me with that too because I give up. I feel tired, I feel scared, I feel frustrated that I don't get the results that I want all the time. But it's so key to be surrounded with people that will hold the vision for you when you're not, in your power.
yeah. When that resiliency that's carried you thus far, like you need a break, like you need some support. You need to be able to not have to be regulated for a moment and just
Yeah.
just let the like be in the void. And
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
the
Oh my God.
feminine.
And the
But
best songs come from the void. I feel a little bit seduced by the void these days because I've been there so much that I'm not scared of it anymore. And so now whenever I feel like darkness around, I'm like, ooh, what are you gonna show me this time? Let's go.
Mm, that's beautiful. And I feel like I mean the I especially when we started working together, but the like re-listening to and listening to the the Bad Bitch song, and just like even the parts of it where it like it's not a song that was written by AI. It's not a song that was does it
Oh,
follows Luciana's core. Like that's what it feels like when you're
yeah,
like, what is the energy of Bad Bitch? It's like Luciana.
yeah,
Um, and so when we were going through our experience together, one of my fears was shining too much or being afraid of my fear, and then you just kind of again seeing through it said specifically, hey, what are you like, how do you deal with haters? And I was like, I don't really deal with them very well. But then I asked you the same question, and I think the Bad Bitch song, because it polarizes, right? Like most love it, some
yeah,
hate it. But like, how do you
yeah.
deal with the haters?
Oh, we love haters in here. Yeah, I mean, because listen, as an artist who's been doing this for a long time, when someone cares that much about what I'm doing, it's an honor. Like, and I don't say that sarcastically. I know it sounds funny, but it's like, finally, people care, you know? So there's a part of that. And also like I'm super confident in the message of the bad bitch. So they're not attacking a part of me that's insecure or like isn't sure, you know. So and I live by this freaking quote, like it's my Bible. What John says about Peter says more about John than it does about Peter.
Mm.
Um,
Say it one more
and
time
so
slowly. I understand it, but just
yeah, what John says about Peter says more about John than it does about Peter.
Yeah.
Meaning, the haters that comment on your stuff are talking about themselves. And I usually, when someone's like, unreleased this song or your song sucks or whatever, I'm like, go make your own music. I promise you, you're going to be a much happier person. Because I have a theory that I'm testing. I will get back to you on this, but I feel like my haters are the people that need me the most. If
Mm.
they're that entangled and that infuriated with what I'm doing,
Mhm.
I mean, we gotta free some voices up, y'all. Like, come in, instead of fighting me, why don't you come into my container? Let's free your voice and do it.
I love that. I love that reframe and that flip, and that I'm taking that with me,
Yeah.
and because that flip is this is like it's like it flips the like people who are hating are still giving you their energy, but if you let it consume you, then you're allowing them to take your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important to remember it's not about you. It's
Yeah,
just not.
yeah,
It's just not.
and like
Yeah.
knowing that for like in intensely, like it was like not a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, we talk every week, so I'm grateful. But for the sake of this this podcast and interview, we've been getting lost in connecting, and I really am so impressed with who you are, what you stand for, the light that you shine, and the hurdles that you have overcome time and time again, and doing it with a smile. And so, with that, is there? Yep. Are there messages not just for people who may join your container, but just for people who feel like they have a song in them, feel like they have something in them that wants to come out? What is your message to them?
Do it and do it now. It's Here's the thing. The more you wait, the harder it is to start. There's no such thing as divine timing. You create it. And so get started. Just take the first step. It's the hardest one you're going to take, but you got to do it. And I'm here. There's a whole roadmap, there's a whole community of artists that are taking these first steps, and we would love to have you. So if you want my help, like, boo, I got you. Let's do this. But my point is, your music needs to exist in the world because if you have a calling, there's people that need to listen to it. And you will never find out the level of impact that you may be able to have if you don't take those first steps and then see it through.
I hope Ashe, thank you for that. And yeah, if you don't choose yourself, life won't choose you. And there's no divine timing. You make your
Exactly.
timing. So
Exactly. Let's
thank you,
do it.
Luciana. Go check out obviously Bad Bitch. Go check out. I'm waiting for her album. Her album. When is your album dropping? And there may not be a date.
April 2027.
April 2027. Okay. And you have how many more songs that
Yes.
you're left to write, and then you're putting everything together.
We're putting it together right now. We're in the demo making process.
Nice. And is there a possibility if someone wants to be a part of this experience of walking through your album creation and being on the inside circle if they wanted to, is there something that they can do to do that?
Yes, there's a boutique offer called the LUXIANA Collective, where for people that had a dream of making music and put it off for a lot of years and now want to give themselves a second chance to come and make this album with me. And by joining the collective, you get access to the studio with us, you get to meet the producers, and you get credits in the album, like your name will actually be on it. It's a very intimate, profound, transformational experience that we
Mhm.
get to live, together in person.
Nice. And if you're an artist, then you also might be able to be on the album. No promises.
Yes, exactly. No, there is a promise because
Oh, there is.
even if you're not an artist, you can record the backing vocals because I'm spoiling it a little bit, but there's chance that will be recording. You don't have to be
Um,
an artist for those. You can just be in the choir with us.
nice. Be a part of your first album.
Yeah.
I'll think about it myself.
Yes, do it.
Thank you, Luciana, for your time, for your energy, and just for being a star and shining and teaching others how to do the same thing.
Thank you so much, my love, and thank you for this space. I appreciate you so much.
Likewise, sending us love. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.